When did you start at the Daily Wire? How did that even happen? And I'd love you to share with us how you've handled the kind of exponential success of the platform and being kind of thrust into the limelight more and more.
It was unexpected.
Yeah.
The whole thing was unexpected. I knew the guys before the Daily Wire started.
Who are the guys? Ben and
Ben,
Andrew?
Jeremy, Andrew Clavin.
Okay.
I knew Drew because I was friends with his son in college.
By the way, my sister told me to tell you, Emma, she loves your reading of Clavin's.
Oh, thank you.
You did such an excellent job on that. What was that called again?
Thank you. It was the Another Kingdom
Another
series.
Kingdom, yeah.
This,
yeah, it was really good.
You know,
yeah. My wife's a big fan too. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Well,
you did a great job.
Drew has written 1,000 novels.
He's unreal. We just bought his new book, so shout out for Clavin here. What's it called? A Turn of Mind or a Habit of Mind?
Strange Habit of Mind. Well, because when you
just bought
say
it.
his new book, it's hard to know because he has like 3 of them. It just came out. But Strange Habit of Mind. So he was a novelist.
Right.
And with Another Kingdom, he had never written fantasy. But he just said, I don't know. This just popped into my head.
What a guy. What a weird head.
What a weird head he's got. You know, no hair. It's all brains in there. And he wrote it. And it's this beautiful Christian story that you might not know about L.A. and this other magical sort of kingdom. And the reason I did that is I was an actor. You know, I was.
I didn't realize that.
I met Spencer Clavin. We were in college together. I directed him in opera. We did plays together, and had no idea he was conservative. Had no idea he was Christian, and had no idea that his father was Andrew Clavin. Even though I knew, you know, Clavin's not a very popular name, but I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. I was a little bit thick, and so one day he called me. He said, "Michael, my father needs a little help with his communications, mailing lists, those things. I know that you're the only person I know who works in conservative politics and show business, other than my father, who has been is veering into this territory. Could you help him?" I said, "Who's your father?" He said, "Hey, dummy, my father's Andrew Clavin. Who do you think he is?" I said, "Oh, wow, okay." And so we became friends. Coincidentally, we were moving to LA at the same time. I was moving there to do all these sorts of low-budget movies and things that are still on Amazon Prime, I'm sure, though. No one should watch them.
No, they should. What's one low-budget film I need to look up on Amazon
really
today to watch it?
suppress all of this. No, I did this movie. The last movie I did called Hollyweird.
Write it down, Cameron.
Hollyweird. So it was kind of a funny movie. It was shot on a shoestring budget, but I think it's a charming movie, and I'm sure it's going to destroy my political career because it's politically incorrect. But
Dreams of President.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we moved there at the same time, and they were starting up the precursor company to Daily Wire, and I was friends with Jeremy also I knew him through show business because he was running the Friends of Abe, which was the conservative secret society in Hollywood. So secret that it has a Wikipedia page. And that had been started by Gary Sinise and John Voight and a few other conservatives. And so I was in that in New York. And one of my first dinners in L.A. was with my then girlfriend, now wife, at Drew's house with Ben and his wife. And said, "Oh, Ben Shapiro, I've seen you on TV." Or, so, you know, "Oh, hey." So we sort of became pals. And so we knew everybody. And then when Daily Wire gets started, Jeremy calls and he says, "Hey, can you come and basically be the pizza boy of the Daily Wire?" The real job was to help start the social media department because I had done that for political campaigns. And I was hesitant to take the job. And I said, "You know, man, I didn't move to L.A. to get a real job. I moved to L.A. to be a derelict actor, and I can keep making money running my political campaigns, and I don't need this." And he said, "You stupid idiot, please let me give you health insurance. It'll be
Who
fun."
is saying this to you?
Jeremy.
Jeremy, I see, yeah.
He said, "You dummy." And I said, "Oh, okay, whatever, I'll take the job." But I was still, I was shooting a movie on Election Day 2016, went straight from the film set to the Daily Wire election coverage. And I got my show, oddly enough. It wasn't just the blank book. That was an excuse for them to give me a show. But I actually got my show, Jeremy and the co-CEO, Caleb, told me later, because of a cigar review that I wrote. And actually, wow.
No. Tabernacle.
Yeah, it was this cigar. Wow, that's the way the world works, I guess. I said, I'd like to maybe write a little something for the website, but I don't want to just write some cheap column. I want to write a cigar review. And I sent it to Jeremy, and it was about this cigar, actually.
Interesting.
And it was about more than the cigar. It was about all sorts of things relating to the tabernacle and culture and all this. And they didn't publish the review. They read it, and they said, "Wow, this guy has something to say," which I found out later, and they gave me a show for it.
Oh.
And but again, the company was still so small.
Yeah. And at that time, you had the Ben Shapiro show, it was Andrew Klavan doing his daily show.
Yeah, and then I was the third show.
I see.
So they launched. Technically, they only launched with the Ben Shapiro show, but Drew's show was in the works. So the company really launched with 2 shows. I was the first new show that they added, but it was still a small company at the time. I remember, we'd get 10,000 viewers on our shows. We thought, oh my gosh, we're famous. Oh, wow, this is really working. It's a relatively small number, as you know, having a very popular show. But we thought, wow, this is amazing. Can't get any bigger than this, huh? And then the company just took off like a rocket ship.
Do you remember when you began to realize that it was happening?
Yeah, I remember every 6 months I had the realization, whoa, because the company was doubling. It was doubling in size every 18 months, and it continues to do that.
Wow.
So now the company is 1 million subscribers. Not 1 million listeners. We got millions and millions of listeners, but even just of paid members to the Daily Wire, it's 1 million, hundreds of millions of paid views, all this stuff, many new shows. And wow, this thing is taking off like a rocket ship. And no one could have predicted it because the company didn't make any sense. It was this conservative company started in Hollywood that had a cultural focus. So the point of the company was to make movies. Our day job was talking about politics, but the point was not just to comment on culture, but to create culture, which people laughed at.
I didn't realize that from the get-go.
That was
point.
always the vision.
That's not an afterthought. That's what
No.
it appeared to me, having followed Joel for a while. That they're now getting
Now we'll
into
do TV
movies.
shows, now we'll do
but
movies.
this was the plan from
It was
the beginning.
always the vision. In fact, we got frustrated because we said we are not doing it in the first year or two of the company when we had no cash. And we're not doing it. Jeremy said, guys, give it a minute. I mean, this takes a while to spin up something that has not existed before. And the other reason the company didn't make sense is it had a something of a religious focus too. We all had totally different religious views. Ben was an Orthodox Jew. Jeremy called himself an antinomian Protestant. That's how he defined his super duper Protestant. Caleb was non-Trinitarian in his views at the time. Ben, obviously Orthodox Jew. Klavan was an Anglican, sort of. And now he's sort of more Anglo-Catholic.
Okay.
And I was Catholic. And all we ever wanted to talk about was religion. That's all we'd argue about Donald Trump, and then we'd talk about religion. And somehow it's all taken off. We all have as divergent views on even conservative politics as you possibly could have. I mean, I think every view that anyone who might call himself a conservative is represented at the Daily Wire. I'm the trad. Jeremy is this uber libertarian with some fondness for the Bush years. Drew comes at politics completely from left field. Ben has a very, very broad audience that even speaks to the center a lot. Then we added Matt Walsh. Matt, has this just incredible deadpan, dry, sort of comedic demeanor that you saw come out in.
I remember I wrote to my friend John Henry and I said, I've been listening to Shapiro, but I need to give it a break. It's just it's a lot of negativity going on in the world. He said, "Oh, you got to come over to Matt Walsh. It's way worse over here."
Yeah, I know. Because the whole idea when the company started was Ben was going to depress you, and then Drew was going to.
And then Matt comes in, and Ben looks quite chipper.
That's right,
actually. Yeah.
Which is funny to do with Matt because he is so funny,
he is
like,
yes.
I always try if we're hanging out. I try to say, it's like, can I get him to crack that giggle? Can I get it? So sort of a little, say, all right, I got him. But so it totally took off, and I remember at the time we'd say, wow, if only we could get the page views that National Review has, or if only we could get the listens that Conservative Review TV has, or whatever, Fox News. Oh my gosh! And now the company wouldn't really be compared to any of those. It just does a totally different thing.
Thanks so much for watching. Please like if you liked, and if you loved, subscribe.